Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am wonderful. Wonderful,
Good.
wonderful.
Good. I'm glad we're here together, just because I love our chats. And so it's nice to be able to open up the window, so to speak, or the door, and allow some friends to come in and visit with us and hear some wisdom, not only from the higher realms, but whoever else walks in the door, I guess. So today we are going to be talking about channeling, and I know that seems to be a really big subject lately. I've noticed a lot of podcasts online about channeling, and people are channeling, and so there's a lot of questions floating around about what is channeling. So today I thought it'd be a great idea if we talk about it. Are you in?
I sure am.
Oh, great. And because I have not mentioned this before, Phyllis, you have been instrumental in my own channeling experience. You are an amazing channeler. I have attended some of your workshops and your teachings where you have channeled, and a lot of amazing wisdom has floated through that has been so beneficial to me and actually helped me, goosebumps, helped me in my journey, as a channeler. So I have a lot of faith and trust in you, and I continue even when I have some questions. You really help, logically get me, settled. So I appreciate that. And so I'm looking forward to that today. So I'm going to have you start today because you are the queen of my mentoring here. And what do you think? What should people know about, what channeling is, what it isn't? What do you think? As I sip my coffee.
Well, it's like, okay, where to start? Channeling. What is it? It's as normal and natural as taking a breath. If you are breathing, you're channeling. People don't understand that, but you are bringing in air and you're letting out air. And that is all it is. It is connecting to your higher self, or maybe your guides, your spirit guides. And when you do that, you are just listening and conveying what they would like to bring forth to other people. Channeling is nothing to be afraid of. Channeling is the word itself has maybe for some people, and I know it did me at the beginning when I started, I was very afraid of that word. That was a word that I was taught that was a no-no word because of my Christian upbringing. But as I got to know and understand what channeling is, it's just natural. So many people can do this. And if you are say a chef or an artist, a writer, anything that you do, you're really channeling because you get ideas, you get inspiration, you get that innate knowing that this is something I want to do, and this is how to do it, and this is how to proceed. You already, everyone living and breathing are channelers. They already channel. I wish there was a different word than channel to introduce to people, because like I said, if you can get over that word itself and just know that you are truly being yourself and doing what brings you happiness, what brings you purpose, then you're already channeling.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was a long road for me to travel to really comprehend it, because I thought, what is that? Because I tried to separate it, and I used to hear my voice. It was my voice. And when I looked at other channelers at the time, and I know a lot of this is different, and I really want to cover this because I think people have a real strong affinity to it. But for me, when I'm watching other channelers, to me, it's like they gave up their body and this spiritual being came in and used their body. And it was like, I don't necessarily need to have anything coming in and taking over. I'm just like, that is not my thing. So I poo-hooed it for so long because it's like, yes, that is a form of channeling. It's just not something I am okay to do. Will that come someday? I don't know. I might still stick by my guns and say, no, these are my parameters. These are my boundaries. This is what I agree to. And if you don't like it, well, then just give me somebody else because it's just not okay. But when you say we do it so naturally, you could call it inspiration. It's like,
Yes.
I'm
Absolutely.
yeah. And so all of a sudden I'm inspired and I don't know why, just, my brain, but we rely so much on the mechanical part of the brain. And that is just the computer system that it just logs stuff in. And so there is that aspect that you're talking about being spiritual, and that's the part that we're not really using. It's like we're almost AI, we're artificial intelligence here. And we are so much more than that. And we need to realize that, because then when you begin to use it. And the other part is, I used to think that people would say, well, I hear my spiritual guides talking. It's like, you know what? I don't hear them with my physical ears. I don't hear them. And so I thought, I'm not channeling because I don't hear them. But yet I can tell the difference between what is my thought and what is the thought that is being, I always call downloaded, what that block of, and Esther Hicks talks about this, that she's downloaded blocks of information. And that is how it is for me. This is a block of information, and I just translate it using my own vocabulary, what's in my head and what I know. And that for me, getting back to what it is, because there are so many facets of it. And so
Correct.
Let's talk about what is it.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, because it isn't something to be afraid of, number one. A lot of people, as you said, think that they would be possessed. And of course, you don't want anything else overtaking your body. That is not channeling. An energy cannot possess another unless it is invited to. And so in channeling, you don't. What we do is we say a little prayer of protection, and it also has to do with your vibration. As long as you are high enough in vibration, and everyone that ends up channeling like this is, the negative energies cannot approach you, cannot do anything, unless you specifically ask to channel a dark entity. You will not do so. I was afraid also that I wouldn't be in control, I guess, that I wouldn't, something would take over and I would have no control of me or my body or anything. And I found very quickly that that is not so. You are always in control, no matter what. You can stop it. You can, just stop. And you do not, you have truly, people have nothing to fear. You also find that as you channel, you can tell the difference between the energies. You can tell the loving presence, the loving energies that surround you, that want to speak through you. And when you feel that love, there's nothing to fear. That is not a negative force. But you can't be totally taken over. We have a free will, and so therefore there is no energy anywhere from beyond on earth, it doesn't matter where, there is no energy that can override your free will. That is a God-given gift, and we are always in control of our free will.
It's actually a universal law as well, too.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Mhm. Yeah. I like when you talk about vibration, because a lot of times, I've taught several workshops, and not necessarily on the subject of channeling, but just on meeting your guides and your teachers, and how you do that. And you're right, your vibration is high, but a lot of people will immediately ask me, well, what if, a spirit comes in that is not, say, of the light, or doesn't have good intention. And it's like, I equate it to being human. I mean, you are going to run into people that don't have a high vibration. And when they don't have a high vibration, it's like you don't really want to be around them. You
Correct.
However, you might encounter them in a workplace where you have to get along with them. So
Yes.
a lot of times, when I am maybe reading for someone, and there is some mischief makers, I'll call them mischief makers, that are around that just like to just play havoc. I have one right now, going on in someone's house, and they're playing mischief in her house, and she's having these things happen, like the water's running, or the lights turn on and off, and all these kind of weird little anomalies. And I said to her, do you leave your front door open? And she said, what? And do you leave your front door open? And she said, well, no. And I said, but you're leaving the spiritual door open, because it's like, in her human life, she is very gregarious, and she loves people to come to her home, and she welcomes them, and they can stay as long as they want, and she feeds them. I mean, she's a great person to be around. She's a wonderful personality. You just cannot not love her. But she has an open door policy with humans, and so she has an open door policy with spirits. I said, so you gotta set some boundaries. You can't do these kinds of things in here. I don't tolerate it. Do you let your company come in and jump on the couch and, make a mess out of your house? No. So you gotta have some boundaries, and it's the same thing in channeling. You have some boundaries. It's like, these are things I'm just not going to put up with. Like, I don't want anybody just entering my body and taking over. You don't have permission to do that. Or maybe it's even subject wise, because I know you and I have talked about this, because you have asked me when I channel for you, what do you want to talk about? What do you not want to talk about? And it's like, I don't want to get into that stuff, because I don't even like talking about it in human form. So I don't want to talk about it in spiritual form either. Find somebody else that does that. Same with, I know that in this place, sometimes I've had people that have crossed over, and they've come, and it's like, I can talk to them, but that's not where I want to be, because I have a different intention in helping people. And I know there are some great channelers out there and mediumships that they can go and talk with people that have crossed over, and put the human person at peace because of that. But that's not my direction. And so I have a border. Like, if you really got something you need to say, okay, fine. But we're not going to drum up the conversation. We're not going to get into any of the details of how you left, or what's, I just don't want to go there. So the boundaries is the big part. So what it isn't, like you said, because you don't need to be afraid of it, because you need to set boundaries. Otherwise, I don't care what you're doing. If you don't set boundaries, you're just inviting everybody in and let's have a party, and that's what's going to happen. So yeah.